there was no issue there. There was nothing to this birther issue. Now, since September, the Constitution hasn't changed. But the poll numbers have.
That's funny.
I recognize that Donald is dismayed that his poll numbers are falling in Iowa. But the facts and the law here are really quite clear. Under long-standing U.S. law, the child of a U.S. citizen born abroad is a natural-born citizen. If a soldier has a child abroad, that child is a natural-born citizen.
Yes,
that's why John McCain, even though he was born in Panama, was eligible to run for president. If an American missionary has a child abroad, that child is a natural-born citizen. That's why George Romney Mitstad was eligible to run for president, even though he was born in Mexico.
Child to be a natural-born
At the end of the day, the legal issue is...
So if you and Mother went overseas and they had me over there, I'd be a English. I'm just saying, if you weren't, and you were in England and you had me, I'd be an English citizen. That doesn't make any sense.
Parents born on U.S. soil under that theory, not only would I be disqualified, Marco Rubio would be disqualified, Bobby Jindal would be disqualified, and interestingly enough,
now there's several.
Jay Trump would be disqualified.
He was a U.S. citizen, and Arnold Jack was in the military.
Because Donald's mother was born in Scotland, she was naturalized. Now, Donald, on the issue of citizenship, Donald, big difference. On the issue of citizenship, Donald, I'm not going to use your mother's birth against you.
Because it wouldn't work.
You're an American, as is everybody else on this stage, and I would suggest we focus
Trump's like,
on who's best prepared to be commander-in-chief, because that's the most important question facing the country.
Mr. Trump, did he address that? Did you raise this because of his rising poll numbers? Well, let me just tell you something, and you know because you just saw the numbers yourself. NBC Wall Street Journal just came out with a poll. Headline, Trump way up, Cruz going down. I mean, so you can't, they don't like the Wall Street Journal, they don't like NBC, but I like the poll. And frankly, it just came out. And
good cover there.
Now, as you know, Ted, in the last 3 polls, I'm beating you. So, you shouldn't
get back. So,
how well you're doing.
I know that's your bed, but not now.
You don't have to say that. In fact, I was all for you until you started doing that because that's a misrepresentation. Number 1. Number 2, this isn't me saying it. I don't care. I think I'm going to win fair and square. I don't have to win this way. Thank you. Lawrence Tribe and numerous from Harvard, said that there is a serious question as to whether or not Ted can do this, okay? There are other attorneys that feel, and very, very fine constitutional attorneys, that feel that because he was not born on the land, he cannot run for office. Here's the problem. We're running. He does great. I win. I choose him as my vice presidential candidate, and the Democrats sue because we can't take him along for the ride. I don't like that, okay? The fact is, and if for some reason he beats the rest of the field, and for some, see, they don't like that. They don't like that. No, they don't like that he beats the rest of the field because they want me. But if for some reason, Neil, he beats the rest of the field, I already know the Democrats are going to be bringing a suit. You have a big lawsuit over your head while you're running, and if you become the nominee, who the hell knows if you can even serve in office? So you should go out, get a declaratory judgment, let the courts decide, and you shouldn't have mentioned the polls because I would have been much better.
Why now? Why are you raising this issue now?
Because now he's doing a little bit better. No, I didn't care before. It's true. No, it's true. Hey, look, he never had a chance. Now he's doing better. He's got probably a 4 or 5% chance.
Thank you, Mr. Trump.
Thank you, Mr. Trump.
Neil,
the fact is, there's a big overhang. There's a big question mark on your head. And you can't do that to the party. You really can't. You can't do that to the party. You have to have certainty. Even if it was a 1% chance, and it's far greater than 1%, because he wasn't born. I mean, you have great constitutional lawyers that say you can't run. If there was and you know, I'm not bringing a suit, I promise. But the Democrats are going to bring a lawsuit. And you have to have certainty. You can't have a question. I can agree with you or not, but you can't have a question over your head.
Senator, you want to respond?
Well, listen, I've spent my entire life defending the Constitution before the U.S. Supreme Court, and I'll tell you, I'm not going to be taking legal advice from Donald
You don't
Trump.
have to take it. Take it from your professor.
But I will
Take
tell
it from
you
your own
also,
professor.
I
is
can
the
tell you one
chances
thing.
of any litigation proceeding and succeeding on this are zero.
It's
Now,
wrong.
Mr. Trump
It's wrong.
is very focused on Larry Tribe. Let me tell you who Larry Tribe is. He's a left-wing
He is a
judicial
left-wing
activist
nut.
Harvard Law professor who was Al Gore's lawyer in Bush versus Gore. He's a major Hillary Clinton supporter, and there's a reason why Hillary's supporters are echoing Donald's attacks on me.
He
Because
is not
Hillary
the only one.
wants
He
to
is
face
not the
Donald
only
Trump
one.
in the
There are
general
many
election.
lawyers.
And I'll tell you what, Donald, you very kindly just a moment ago offered me the VP slot. I'll tell you what. If this all works out, I'm happy to consider naming you as VP. And so if you happen to be right, you could get the top job at the end of the day.
No, I think if it doesn't... I like it. I'd consider it. But I think I'll go back to building buildings if it doesn't work out.
Actually, I'd
But
love to get you to build
I
a
have a
wall.
feeling it's going to work out, actually.
I can,
Back
I was
to
Neil, I can
Building
Neil,
buildings.
Neil, I can say this.
Let me just say this, because I was invoked in that question. So let me just say in that answer. Let me say the real question here. I hate to interrupt this episode of Court TV.
Has Jeb
But the
spoken
real-
yet? I think he's asleep on the other end of the stage.
You know, I think they ought to limit it to
I think
five.
we have to get back to what this election has to be about. Okay, this is the greatest country in the history of mankind. But in 2008, we elected a president that didn't want to fix America. He wants to change America. We elected a president that doesn't believe in the Constitution. He undermines it. We elected a president that's weakening America on the global stage. We elected a president that doesn't believe in the free enterprise system. This election has to be about reversing all of that damage. That's why I'm running for office. Because when I become president of the United States, on my first day in office, we are going to repeal every single one of his unconstitutional executive orders. When I'm president of the United States, we are getting rid of Obamacare, and we are rebuilding our military. And when I'm president, we're not just going to have a president that gives a State of the Union and says, America's the greatest country in the world. When I'm president, we're going to have a president that acts like it.
Thank you, Senator.
That's a good statement.
Mr. Trump,
Oh, look at the
Governor
puppy.
Nikki Haley, in her
That's
response to the
poor
State of the
puppy.
Union address,
Oh, there's Nikki Haley.
to choose sides
No.
within the party,
Hey,
saying
honey, don't look
Republicans
up
should
on the
resist,
side. That's
quote,
a good way to
the
hurt
siren call of the angriest voices. She confirmed she was referring to you, among others. Was she out of line? And how would a President Trump unite the party?
Okay. First of all, Nikki this afternoon said I'm a friend of hers, actually a close friend, and wherever you're sitting, Nikki, I am a friend. We're friends. That's good. But she did say there was anger. And I could say, oh, I'm not angry. I'm very angry because our country is being run horribly. And I will gladly accept the mantle of anger. Our military is a disaster. Our health care is a horror show. Obamacare, we're going to repeal it and replace it. We have no borders. Our vets are being treated horribly. Illegal immigration is beyond belief. Our country is being run by incompetent people. And yes, I am angry. And I won't be angry when we fix it. But until we fix it, I'm very, very angry. And I say that to Nikki. So when Nikki said that, I wasn't offended. She said the truth. One of your colleagues interviewed me and said, well, she said you were angry. And I said to myself, she's right. I'm not fighting that. I didn't find it offensive. I'm angry because our country is a mess.
Look,
I'm sorry, just with time constraints. You and Governor Christie have been exchanging some fairly nasty words.
Tammy, Jeb hadn't spoke
I
yet.
want the governor to respond as well. The governor went so far as
You know,
to
they
say
have too many
you won't
up
be
there,
able
is
to
all
find
there
your
is to
way
it.
to the White House. He's referring to a series of ads done by a
Five,
PAC speak on your
plenty.
behalf that say, quote, one high tax, Common Core, liberal, energy-loving, Obamacare, Medicaid expanding president is enough. One high tax, Common Core, liberal, energy-loving, Obamacare, Medicaid expanding president is enough. You think you went too far on that, and do you want to apologize to the government?
You know, as I said already twice in this debate, we have a very serious problem in this country. We have a president of the United States that is undermining this country's security and expanding the role of our government. Well, I'm going to answer your question, Neil. This president is undermining the constitutional basis of this government.
Stop kicking
This president
me.
is undermining our military. He's undermining our standing in the world. I like Christian. We cannot afford to have a president of the United States that supports Common Core. We cannot afford to have a president of the United States that supports gun control. This president is more interested in less interested in funding the military than he is in funding he's more interested in funding Planned Parenthood than he is in funding the military. He wrote a check to Planned Parenthood. All I'm saying is our next president has to be someone that undoes the damage Barack Obama has done to this country. It cannot be someone that agrees with his agenda, because the damage he has done to America is extraordinary. Let me tell you, if we don't get this election right, there may be no turning back for America. We are on the verge of being the first generation of Americans that leave our children worse off than ourselves. And so I just truly, with all my heart, believe, I, like everybody on the stage, no one is a socialist, no one here is under FBI investigation, so we are a good group of people. But our next president,
is he a liberal?
Unfortunately, Governor Christie has endorsed many of the ideas that Barack Obama supports, whether it's Common Core or gun control or the appointment of Sonia Sotomayor or the donation he made to Planned Parenthood. Our next president and our Republican nominee cannot be someone who supports those positions.
Governor?
You know, I stood on the stage and watched Marco and rather indignantly look at Governor Bush and say, someone told you that because we're running for the same office, that criticizing me will get you to that office. It appears that the same someone's been whispering in old Marco's ear, too. And so the indignation that you carry on some of this stuff, you have to also own that. So let's set the facts straight. First of all, I didn't support Sonia Sotomayor. Secondly, I never wrote a check to Planned Parenthood. Third, if you look at my record as governor of New Jersey, I have vetoed a 50 caliber rifle ban. I have vetoed a reduction in clip size. I have vetoed a statewide ID system for gun owners, and I have pardoned six out-of-state folks who came through our state and were arrested for owning a gun legally in another state, so they never had to face charges. And on Common Core has been eliminated in New Jersey. So listen, this is the difference between being a governor and being a senator. See, when you're a senator, what you get to do is just talk and talk and talk, and you talk so much that nobody can ever keep up with what you're saying is accurate or not. When you're a governor, you're held accountable for everything you do. And the people of New Jersey have seen it. And the last piece is this. I like Marco too. And 2 years ago, he called me a conservative reformer that New Jersey needed. That was before he was running against me. Now that he is, he's changed his tune. I'm never going to change my tune. I like Marco Rubio. He's a good guy, a smart guy, and he would be a heck of a lot better president than Hillary Rodham Clinton would ever be.
Neil, my name was mentioned here. Neil, my name was mentioned as well. Here's the deal. Chris is totally right. He's been a good governor. And he's a heck of a lot better than his predecessor that would have bankrupted New Jersey. Everybody on this stage is better than Hillary Clinton. And I think the focus ought to be on making sure that we leave this nomination process as wild and woolly as it's going to be. This is not beanbag. These attack ads are going to be part of life. Everybody just needs to get used to it. Everybody's record's going to be scrutinized. And at the end of the day, we need to unite behind the winner so that we can defeat Hillary Clinton, because she is a disaster. Our country can rise up again. We need to have a compelling conservative agenda that we present to the American people in a way that doesn't disparage people, that unites us around our common purpose. And so everybody needs to discount some of the things you're going to hear in these ads and discount the back and forth here, because every person here is better than Hillary Clinton.
Neil, I was mentioned too. Yeah, I said everybody. And I just want to take this opportunity to say, you know, in the 2012 election, you know, and when I say we, Republicans tore themselves apart. You know, we have to stop this because, you know, if we manage to damage ourselves and we lose the next election and a progressive gets in there and they get 2 or 3 Supreme Court picks, this nation is over as we know it. And we got to look at the big picture here.
Kasich, Hillary Clinton is getting some serious competition from Senator Bernie Sanders. He's now at 41% in the latest CBS New York Times poll. Vice President Biden sang his praises, saying Bernie is speaking to a yearning that is deep and real, and he has credibility on it. So what does it say about our country that a candidate who is a self-avowed socialist and who doesn't think a 90% tax rate is too high could be the Democratic nominee?
Well, if that's the case, we're going to win every state if Bernie Sanders is the nominee. That's not even an issue. But look, and I know Bernie, and I can promise you he's not going to be president of the United States. So here's this situation, I think, Maria, and this is what we have to, I'm going to tell you, when wages don't rise, and they haven't for a lot of families for a number of years, it's very, very difficult for them. Part of the reason why it hasn't risen is because sometimes we're not giving people the skills they need. Sometimes it's because the Federal Reserve kept interest rates so low that the wealthy were able to invest in strong assets like the stock market when everybody else was left behind. People are upset about it. I'll tell you what else they're upset about. You're 50, you're 51 years old, and some kid walks in and tells you you're out of work, and you don't know where to go and where to turn. Do we have an answer for that? We do. There are ways to retrain the 50 and 51-year-olds because they've got great value. I'll tell you what else people are concerned about. Their kids come out of college, they have high debt, and they can't get a good job. We got to do a lot about the high cost of higher education, but we've got to make sure we're training people for jobs that exist that are good jobs that can pay. Let me tell you that in this country, people are concerned about their economic future. They're very concerned about it. And they wonder whether somebody is getting something that's keeping them from getting it. That's not the America that I've ever known. My father used to say, Johnny, we don't hate the rich. We just want to be the rich. And we just got to make sure that every American has the tools in K through 12, in vocational education, in higher education. And we got to fight like crazy so people can think the American dream still exists, because it does, with rising wages, with full employment, and with everybody in America, and I mean everybody in America, having an opportunity to realize the American dream of having a better life than their mother and their father. I'm president. Look, I've done it once. I've done it once in Washington with great jobs and lower taxes. The economy was really booming. And now in Ohio, with the same formula, wages higher than the national average, a growth to 385,000 jobs. It's not that hard. Just know where you want to go, stick to your guts, get it done, because our children and grandchildren are counting on us to get it done. And folks, we will. You count on it.
Dr. Carson, one of the other candidates on this stage has brought up Bill Clinton's past indiscretions. Is that a legitimate topic in this election? And what do you think of the notion that Hillary Clinton is an enabler of sexual misconduct?
Well, there's no question that we should be able to look at any past president, whether they're married to somebody who's running for president or not, in terms of their past behavior and what it means. But, you know, here's the real issue. Is this America anymore? Do we still have standards? Do we still have values and principles? You know, you look at what's going on, you see all the divisiveness and the hatred that goes on in our society. You know, we have a war on virtually everything: race wars, gender wars, income wars, religious wars, age wars. Every war you can imagine, we have people at each other's throats. And our strength is actually in our unity. You know, you go to the internet, you start reading an article, and you go to the comment section. You cannot go 5 comments down before people are calling each other all manner of names. Where did that spirit come from in America? It did not come from our Judeo-Christian roots, I can tell you that. And wherever it came from, we need to start once again recognizing that there is such a thing as right and wrong. And let's not let the secular progressives drive that out of us. The majority of people in America actually have values and principles, and they believe in the very things that made America great. They've been beaten into submission. It's time for us to stand up for what we believe in.
All right, we are not done. Coming up, one of the top issues issue people are talking about on Facebook, guns. And you can join us live on this stage in the conversation during this commercial break, right from home. You can go to facebook.com/BoxBusiness. We will be streaming live and talking about how we think the debate is going so far. We're back in a moment from Charleston, South Carolina.
Anyone who can get out right now. Do not look up. Do not make eye contact. Just go. Lee, stay calm. I'm right here.
We are live in 5 minutes.
You have the revisions for the
We're
opening.
still making some changes.
Am I going to get the changes before the show or
You
after
know
the
the drill.
show?
You just point the camera in my direction. We'll figure it out together.
It always sounds so simple and yet so moronic.
Here he is, the Wizard of Wall Street himself.
The name is Lee Gates. The show is Money Monster. Without risk, there is no reward. Should I sell? Should I unload? Man up!
Who's that guy on camera too?
You want to complain about it? Go ahead.
Who is it? Anybody know?
What is it, a union thing?
Cut the feed.
Whoever's in there, turn the cameras on. Turn the cameras on, Patty. Turn them on.
What do you do?
Turn them on.
Put it up.
Take it out. Put it on. How do I know it won't blow up? Because I have the detonator. Right thumb comes off this trigger, and we all explode. I might be the one with the gun here, but I'm not the real criminal. It's people like these guys.
Got my finger on the trigger,
I'm telling you, it's rigged. The whole damn thing.
but I don't know who to trust.
They're stealing everything from us, and they're getting away with it, too. How's that even fair?
Just keep talking to him. All right, you're good at that.
Got my finger on the trigger.
You lost a lot of money when the market tanked.
Faith just ain't.
They tracked down his girlfriend.
That was everything we had.
Every last cent. What are you doing?
Just trying to survive.
I'll get you some answers.
Nobody was asking any questions before. These guys could expose everything.
We both want an explanation for what went wrong.
We don't know. You have to understand how delicate of a situation this
I'm
is.
sitting 80 feet from a bomb. Don't talk to me about delicate situations.
We're human beings. We're not computers. We have a conscience.
I'm trying to save him. You're trying to shoot him.
I want an explanation. Follow the money. Find the fraud.
We're in this together now. Don't turn your back on anybody. I don't want you to die.
Oh my God.
You came here to get some answers. You deserve to get some answers.
The Commission finds no national interest in continuing to import lesser skilled and unskilled workers
Barbara Jordan.
in the most vulnerable parts of our
Is that who that was?
Many
Yep. I
American
didn't recognize
workers
her.
do not have adequate job prospects. We should make their task easier to find employment, not harder.
Paid for by Numbers USA.
Welcome back to the Republican presidential debate right here in North Charleston. Let's get right back to the questions. Governor Bush, gun rights, one of the top issues seen on Facebook, with close to 3 million people talking about it in the past month. Right here in Charleston, Dylan Roof, who's been accused of killing 9 people in a nearby church, reportedly had not passed his background check when he got his gun. What is the harm in tightening standards for not only who buys guns, but those who sell them?
First of all, I'd like to recognize Governor Haley for her incredible leadership in the aftermath of the Emmanuel AME Church killings. I also want to recognize the people in that church that showed the grace of God and the grace of forgiveness and the mercy that they showed. I don't know if any of us
could have done what they did one after another within 48 hours of that tragedy taking place. Look, here's the deal. In this particular case, the FBI made a mistake. The law itself requires a background check, but they didn't fulfill their part of the bargain within the time that they were supposed to do. We don't need to add new rules. We need to make sure the FBI does its job, because that person should not have gotten a gun. It would not have passed the background check. The first impulse of Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton is to take rights away from law-abiding citizens. That's always what they do, whether it's the San Bernardino terrorist attack or if it's these tragedies that take place. I think we ought to focus on what the bigger issue is. It isn't law-abiding gun owners. Look, I have an A+ rating in the NRA, and we also have a reduction in gun violence because in Florida, if you commit a crime with a gun, you're going away. You're going away for a long, long while. And that's what we should focus on, is the violence in our communities. Target the efforts for people that are committing crimes with guns. And if you do that and get it right, you're going to be much better off than creating a political argument where there's a big divide. The other issue is mental health. That's a serious issue that we could work on. Republicans and Democrats alike believe this. The president's first impulse is to do this by executive order, power he doesn't have. Why not go to Congress and in a bipartisan way begin to deal with the process of mental health issues so that people that are spiraling out of control because of mental health challenges don't have access to guns?
Thank you, sir. Mr. Trump, are there any circumstances that you think we should be limiting gun sales of any kind in America?
No. I am a Second Amendment person. If we had guns in California on the other side where the bullets went in the different direction, you wouldn't have 14 or 15 people dead right now. If even in Paris, if they had guns on the other side going in the opposite direction, you wouldn't have 130 people plus dead. So the answer is no. And what Jeb said is absolutely correct. We have a huge mental health problem in this country. We're closing hospitals, we're closing wards, we're closing so many because the states want to save money. We have to get back into looking at what's causing. You know, the guns don't pull the trigger, it's the people that pull the trigger. And we have to find out what is going on. We have to protect our Second Amendment, and you cannot do this, and certainly what Barack Obama was doing with the executive order. He doesn't want to get people together. You know, the old-fashioned way where you get Congress, you get the Congress, you get the Senate, you get together, you do legislation. He just writes out an order, executive order. Not supposed to happen that way.
Thank you, sir.
Senator Rubio, you said that President Obama wants to take people's guns away, yet under his presidency, gun sales have more than double. That doesn't sound like a White House unfriendly to gun owners.
That sounds like people are afraid the president's going to take their guns away.
Of course.
Look, the Second Amendment is not an option. It is not a suggestion. It is a constitutional right of every American to be able to protect themselves and their families. I am convinced that if this president could confiscate every gun in America, he would. I am convinced that this president, if he could get rid of the Second Amendment, he would. I am convinced because I see how he works with his Attorney General, not to defend the Second Amendment, but to figure out ways to undermine it. I have seen him appoint people to our courts, not to defend the Second Amendment, but to figure out ways to undermine it. Here's my second problem. None of these instances that the president points to as the reason why he's doing these things would have been prevented. You know why? Because criminals don't buy their guns from a gun show. They don't buy their guns from a collector. And they don't buy their guns from a gun store. They steal them. They get them on the black market. And let me tell you, ISIS and terrorists do not get their guns from a gun show. His answer, you name it. If there is an act of violence in America, his immediate answer before he even knows the facts is gun control. Here's a fact. We are in a war against ISIS. They are trying to attack us here in America. They attacked us in Philadelphia last week. They attacked us in San Bernardino 2 weeks ago. And the last line standing between them and our families might be us and a gun. When I'm President of the United States, we are defending the Second Amendment, not undermining it the way Barack Obama does.
But what fact can you point to, Senator? What fact can you point to that the president would take away everyone's gun? You don't think that's extreme?
About every 2 weeks, he holds a press conference talking about how he can't wait to restrict people's access to guns. He has never defended. Look, I'll give you a fact. Well, let me tell you this. Do you remember when he ran for president of the United States and he was a candidate and he went and said, these Americans with traditional values, they are bitter people and they cling to their guns and to their religion. That tells you right away where he was headed on all of this. This president, every chance he has ever gotten, has tried to undermine the Second Amendment. He doesn't mean... Here's the difference.
Guarantee you, President Obama attacks Rubio
White
tomorrow.
House, it's not, how can we protect the Second Amendment rights of Americans?
That's
It's,
there, I have
give me
Rubio.
options on how I can make it harder for law-abiding people to buy guns. That will never happen when I am President of the United States.
They take away our